Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. We are continuing our series that we are doing. Church must stop turning Christians to idol worshippers. That is the topic of today. But the series is how to know God through the church. How to know God through the church. And the topic of today is church must stop turning Christians to idol worshippers. So please go and share the message. Please go and share the message with your friends and family members. Share, and make sure that you invite everybody you truly care for to come and join us. So we are, moving towards the end of the last week on this series that we are doing, the church series, and this is going to, maybe we have 2 more days to go, and so please go share the message and call on your friends and family members to join us. All right, so let's now go to the notes. Это то же самое, что беда. Это надо вторая часть, не да. Быстренько слайд. So they put the wrong message here for me, the wrong slide. So I'm going to have to keep you waiting while they change it to another one. Okay, we're here so fast. So church must stop turning Christians to idol worshippers. Yesterday I spoke about the church turning Christians to idol worshippers. Today, they must stop doing that. Church must stop turning Christians to idol worshippers. So the scripture we are using today is Proverbs 28:16. A ruler who lacks understanding is a great oppressor, but he who hates covetousness will prolong his days. Unfortunately, our pastors today, they are more known for their covetousness than for their understanding. It is very sad that right now ordinary church members will be coming on social media to rebuke pastors for their lifestyle. Ordinary Christians are now correcting pastors that the emphasis should not be on buildings, should not be on ceremonies or something like that, that the emphasis should be on God, on people, on the poor. It is now a shame that now the ordinary members, people who are not even Christians or who are not renowned Christian ministers, are now coming out to rebuke Christian pastors that the emphasis shouldn't be on money, the emphasis shouldn't be on tithe and offering, that the emphasis should be on the underprivileged, on the poor people, on the widow, on the orphans. So because of lack of understanding, our pastors today are building cathedrals and making all kinds of people who are following them to believe that cathedrals is the way to serve God. They are laying emphasis on prosperity, making people to believe that it is through prosperity that you can serve God. They are laying so much emphasis on structures, buildings, on money, on cars, on just material things, making people to believe that that is how you affirm that God is with you. So a lot of practices that are obtainable in the churches in Africa today, they show you that the leaders lack understanding. They are like children that are being given this treasure to lead people, and they are known now by their covetousness, and that has to stop. We need to deliver the Church of Africa from covetousness, and we need to bring understanding into the church. Now, the message of today, the text for the message of today, let's go in there if you have shared the message. In our churches, we have reduced righteousness only to the common known sins of smoking, drinking, and sex, while covetousness is celebrated in churches. So what it means to be holy and to be righteous in our churches today is you don't sleep around, you don't smoke, you don't drink, and then, but underneath that is eating a whole lot of dirt and smell, stinking stuff. that are going on, especially love of money and covetousness. James 3:12 says, "Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives?" So that's why the people we are producing, the people that the church is producing, are mainly covetous people. That's why fraud and fraudsters are spread out everywhere. That's why deception is everywhere. You cannot trust anybody. When I went to Nigeria, I was introduced to preaching only in churches. I never met with one single unbeliever one-on-one. I never gave my card to an unbeliever. I only give my cards to believers, to church pastors and their assistants. And you know what I discovered? Before you know it, I was getting spams, Nigerian spams. They were, with all kind of emails. And I said, but I gave these things only to pastors, only to leaders in church. And they were all fraudsters. Maybe not all of them, but mostly fraudsters. And writing me all kinds of letters to scam me of money. So, because if the pastors are preaching covetous gospel, a gospel of greed, a gospel that is based on lust for money and for properties, that is exactly the kind of church they are going to give birth to. Because a fig tree will now bear olives, and a grape wine will now bear fig. So no spring yields both salt water and fresh. It is evil that our churches are generating. Our churches are turning people now to idol worshippers. We are turning people to idol worshippers, and that's a tragedy. The church must stop turning people to idol worshippers. Because when you are addicted to money, that is idol worshiping. When you are addicted to things, that is idol worshiping. When you pursue things, that is idol worshiping. When you are living for things, that's idol worshiping. Jesus said, don't worry about these things. Don't seek God for these things. Don't seek God for what to wear, what to drink, what to eat. Don't seek God for those things, what to eat, what to drink, what to wear. Don't seek God for material things. Seek God for the sake of relationship. Seek God because you want to know Him and have personal relationship with Him, because you want to love Him or because you love Him. Other virtues are, so in our churches, they talk about all those little very kind of sins. Okay, don't smoke, don't drink, don't have sex, even though people still do that, but then all other things are hidden. So, but they don't talk about virtues. The other virtues are almost practically buried. They don't talk about the virtues of righteousness, the virtues of endurance, the virtues of perseverance, the virtues of persistence, the virtues of excellence, the virtues of dignity of labor, the virtues of diligence, the virtues of productivity and production, the virtues of services, the virtues of producing goods, converting things in the physical, the spiritual realm to the physical realm. They don't teach about detailed and thorough analysis. Detail and analysis have not been given. So qualities that are responsible for national growth and development, like analysis, like like the things I've mentioned, they have not been given detailed and thorough analysis. So qualities that are responsible for growth, for development of a nation, of a people, qualities that grow strong and powerful people, have not been given detailed and thorough analysis. They have not been given to qualities that are responsible for national growth and development. So that's why we are lacking behind. We are behind, we are backward, because we have not been taught, we are not being taught qualities that lead to growth and development. Emphasis are not being paid to these qualities. We are not being taught, we are not being enlightened in these qualities. What we preach is what we have. So if they are preaching to us just messages of lust, greed, and having something for nothing, instant gratification, that is why we are fraud. We are fraudsters. We are 419. We have scammers. because that is exactly what those kind of messages will yield for you. Virtues like trusting in people is not there, so you cannot find people trusting anybody. Everybody is suspicious of everyone. And why do we become so suspicious? Because of the messages that are coming from our pulpits. And the messages are: you have an enemy in your house, you have an enemy in your family, you have some wishes and wizards that are behind you, running after you. Your enemy should be your stepmother or your brother or things like that. So instead of trust, we are preaching distrust. Instead of faithfulness to God and to ourselves and to the principles of God and to principles of righteousness, we are only preaching about loyalty to the pastors. We are preaching that people should be loyal to us, that people should be loyal to our churches. People shouldn't go to other churches. They shouldn't listen to other men of God. They shouldn't read other people's books. So we don't preach the principles that will make people to be steady, to be faithful to the things that are right. We are not being preached. We are not being taught principles that establish people in what is right. We are not being taught truth. We are not being taught equity, justice. We are not being taught the role of being truthful to yourself. So there is no faithfulness to yourself, to the Word of God, and to the society as well. Only faithfulness to some men, and which is idol worshiping at the end of the day. We are not being taught principles like integrity for your word, integrity for your actions, integrity for what you believe, integrity for what you stand and where you stand. Everybody is being we have psychophants everywhere. People who are giving eye service. Eye service is what is prevalent, not integrity. You will have an opinion, but when you see somebody that is senior, you just change your opinion and come under them. Or somebody that is richer than you change your opinion and come under them. So no integrity at all. Then we don't have hard work. No culture of hard work. Because instead of hard work, they will tell you that one day of favor is better than 10 years of labor. They will discourage hard work, and they will make you to think that one day God will just bring all the blessings of the people who are working hard and give to you. So if God is going to give the blessings of the unbelievers to you one day, why should you work? You don't need to work for anything, because everything will come to you anyway. So those are the kind of virtues that are being propagated in our churches. And these virtues are the things that are leading us to become idol worshippers. So they don't teach us about diligence, because diligence is like, you are wasting time. God will give you breakthrough. You just need to come for pastor's blessing. You carry the oil. When you carry the oil, everything is supposed to work for you. If you don't have the oil or the mantle or the handkerchief and things like that, nothing. It doesn't matter how diligent you are. So if people are playing down diligence, that it doesn't matter how diligent you are, if God doesn't bless it, nothing will work, then you will not need to want to waste time to be diligent. But we know that everything we have in the world is being produced by people who don't believe in God so much, or they don't proclaim to believe in God, but their diligence is making the world to work, and it's making us to have most of the things that we have. Because God has already blessed all creation. God has already blessed everyone. And the blessing is in you being diligent to the work of your hand. Everything that you find, do with all your heart. That is the blessing. Once you do that, you are blessed. You don't need to go to pastors or carry oil everywhere or tie some, handkerchief around your neck. There is no place for the preaching of excellence. We don't preach for excellence, because we're just taking people to be raising up their hands, and breakthrough will come. So and then we don't teach about attention to details. Even people who are rich and well-to-do, you see, go to their houses, the finishing is horrible. No attention to details, because there is no culture of perseverance. Because before you could have attention to details, you have to learn to persevere. You have to learn to endure. You have to learn to be persistent. But these are the qualities they don't teach us in the churches. They don't teach us about truth, because truth to them is, they don't even have what they don't know what it means. It's just relative. Apart from, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. All average Christian, or even pastors in Nigeria churches, or in African churches, or even worldwide, don't even know what truth is. They don't have a concept of truth. apart from saying that I am the way, the truth, and the life. They don't have anything that again to say about truth anymore. They don't know that truth is the foundation of life. They don't know that Jesus Christ himself came to testify to the truth, and the truth is the reason for which he came. Responsibility, they don't teach responsibility so much, because God, don't worry, God will take care of it. God is in control. Too much of adjourning our responsibility or handing over of our responsibility to God. Too much fake dependency on God, whereby we say God would do for us what we needed to do for ourselves. No contentment, because greed is being propagated. When there is greed, there is no contentment. So these are the very virtues that are supposed to be developed and preached on regularly in our churches, but they are the very same values that are disregarded. Virtues like trust, faithfulness, integrity, hard work, hard work, diligence, excellence, attention to details, perseverance, truth, responsibility, delayed gratification, contentment. These kind of values are the things that our churches need to return to if we don't want to keep on making people into slaves of men and slaves of churches. If we don't want to keep on making people into idol worshippers, we need to dump all those doctrines that we used to preach, that we have borrowed from American churches, and come back to fundamental principles that lead to growth and development. We have been deprived of true virtues, and these are the true virtues that I just mentioned. And now we have been handed over to religion. We have become a nation famous for our religiosity, but without virtues. Proverbs 22:29 says, do you see a man who excels in his work? You see, it's about excelling. It's about teaching people to excel in their work. We are supposed to be teaching people excellence, to excel, to be the best, to be the first, to do in their work, not in their praying, not in their shaking of their hand, their heads, and their gesticulating, and their punching the air in prayers and things that is not what they're supposed to be known for. Where our members are supposed to be known for their excellence at work, how good the work they do is. So do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men. That's why we don't give birth to great people anymore. We are not producing great people. As big as our population is, it's a disgrace that we don't have people excelling in sports or in Olympics or in World Championship or in other areas of life. Also, we're just mediocre, because the kind of messages that we are being fed with will not lead to excellence. Our pulpit must stop talking about miracles. We must stop talking about breakthroughs, because the message our people are hearing is that through miracles and breakthroughs, you can get something for nothing. And that is what is making us to become fraudsters, 419 scammers. Galatians 6:7 says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that he will reap. So whatever we sow into the ears and the mind of our people, that is what we get. If we are sowing this kind of instant gratification kind of messages, miracle breakthrough kind of messages, not messages of perseverance, endurance, productivity and things like that, that is what we reap. What they are hearing, what our people are really hearing, is that it is possible to reap where you have not sown. They have not gone to work, they will just get favor. They have not worked hard, they will just get breakthrough. It's not possible. And when they don't see result, they will begin to cheat and begin to defraud other people to get that result that their pastor had prophesied to them. The national psyche of Nigerians today is more like, it is, if it is good for me, now, it doesn't matter what happens later. We don't see beyond our nose. We are only thinking about what is good for us right now. And then we are so bold to say we are the ones who are right. Hebrews 13:5, let your conduct be without covetousness. And it's covetousness that want to have the result right now. That is covetousness. Instant gratification is covetousness. But be content with such things as you have. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Bible is teaching us to be content, and contentment is one thing that people don't teach anymore in our church. It's no more popular. Pastors' lifestyles, their messages, that the testimonies that they broadcast in their pulpit are all geared towards covetousness. I mean, if you have listened to the testimonies that come from the embassy of God in our church here, you would see the big difference between what people testify about here and what people testify about in Nigeria. So this lifestyle of pastors, the testimonies they promote, the messages they preach, they only lead to covetousness, which is the height of moral breakdown of a nation. Ecclesiastes 5:10 says, he who loves silver will not be satisfied with silver. You see, when you begin to run after material things, you will never be satisfied. When you begin to try to make a living, you will never live. So he who loves silver will never be satisfied with silver, nor he who loves abundance with increase. This also is vanity. You don't love things. You should love God. We are not supposed to love things. In their mind, as long as they are not smoking, because that's what they have been told, as long as they are not drinking and they are not having illicit sex, they are Christians and they are fine. Not knowing that being a Christian is much more than what they see in the surface. Being a Christian is much more deeper than their surface knowledge. Mark 7:20-23 says, and he said, what comes out of a man, what defiles a man? For from within, out of the heart of the man, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murderers, theft, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lewdness, and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile a man. So these are the things that defile a man, and these are the things that our pastors are supposed to be helping us get rid of. But rather, instead of helping us get rid of them, they are rather, propelling them. They are rather, increasing them. They are rather pumping them up in us. These vices. If truth be told, our churches have largely contributed to the corruption in our nation. Our messages of instant gratification have led to a whole generation of people who only want to see instant results, immediate relief, and a painless profit. Jeremiah 6:13 says, because from the least of them, even to the greatest of them, from the GOs to the least, from the least ordinary member to the GOs, everyone is given to covetousness. See what our churches are talking about all the time. It's the God of Mammon. Covetousness. And from the prophet even to the priest, everyone deals falsely. That's Nigeria right there for you. Everybody is lying, everybody is deceptive. For our youth to change, our messages must change. For our nation to change, our pulpit must change. So for our church country to change, our messages must change. For our nation to change, our pulpit must change. Mark 8:36 says, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? And that's what we are not being preached. It's not being told us these days. We must begin to deliver relevant messages which are capable of building a healthy nation and future. Isaiah 42:1 says, behold, my servant, whom I uphold, my elect one, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the Gentiles. We are supposed to be teaching people more about justice, to look around them, to go and bring justice to the unbelievers, to the world, to the Christian, to the non-Christian, to bring justice. We must begin to raise up people who will fight for justice, fight for righteousness, who will bring this sense of justice, equity back to the society. Instead of messages that are only promising blessings or miracles, breakthroughs, and signs and wonders, we should teach people to know and recognize and fight for justice and pursue justice, pursue truth, pursue righteousness. We must replace these messages with preaching on virtues such as hard work. Let's begin to preach on hard work. Let's begin to preach about creativity. Let's begin to teach people about dedication to their work. Let's begin to teach people about commitment to a cause. Let's begin to teach people about perseverance. Let's begin to teach people about diligence, responsibility, etc. These are the messages that must return to our churches so that we wouldn't keep on breeding a bunch of idol worshippers. So if we want to really build a new country, our messages must change. Well, we have a video. I would like us to show the video. And but meanwhile, please go and share the message with your friends and family members. Share. Let's share the message. And if you want to attend the History Makers training, please write to us by writing to hmt@godembassy.org. hmt@godembassy.org. And if you want to read my book, you can read them for free by going to Kindle Unlimited, and you can buy them on Amazon or buy them from my office by writing to dssbooks@gmail.com. Well, right now we'll go to the video, and that's a comic illustration of video that I've been showing that helps us to really know what has been wrong with the churches worldwide.
The hierarchical chain of command is a common solution to a very old problem, and that is, a single leader can only interact directly with so many subordinates. Moses ran headlong into this reality in Exodus chapter 18 when he tried to personally arbitrate all of the conflicts of all of the Israelites. When his father-in-law Jethro saw this, he said, "What you are doing is not good. You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone." Then he instructed Moses in how to create a hierarchy to solve his problem. Select capable men and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Have them serve as judges for the people at all times, but have them bring every difficult case to you. Basically, what Jethro suggested was similar to the court system we use today, with the lowest officials acting as small claims court and Moses acting as the Supreme Court. So we know it was a sound idea. But why did Jethro have such a clear understanding of hierarchy, while the idea never even occurred to Moses? Perhaps it was because Jethro was a priest of Midian, a nation described in the Old Testament as a great military power that would later oppress God's people, much like the Romans did throughout the New Testament. Perhaps a coordinated military force such as Midian employed a military hierarchy, so this idea was only second nature to Jethro. Of course, Jesus also understood the limitations of a single person trying to lead a large number of people, which is why he didn't want to linger with his disciples in his mortal form. Because he is risen and therefore omnipresent now, he has no need to work through an inferior man-made system such as a chain of command. Christ can interact directly with every believer at all times. This is why Paul described the church as a body where each member has its own direct connection to the head, which is Christ. In fact, the church was intended to be the fulfillment of the Old Testament prophecy, "I will be their God, and they will be my people." No longer will a man teach his neighbor or a man his brother, saying, "Know the Lord," because they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, declares the Lord. This is why John wrote, "As for you, the anointing you received from him remains in you, and you do not need anyone to teach you." However, hierarchy doesn't just compensate for the limitations of leadership, it creates a separation from leadership as well. And as much as Christ desires a one-on-one connection with each of us, it has always been the inclination of fallen man to run from any kind of direct relationship with God. The first thing Adam did after the fall was hide. Whenever Moses came back from talking with God, he had to cover the radiance of his face with a veil. And as we discussed earlier, even though God wanted to be Israel's king, they installed a lesser, man-made kingship between themselves and their God, rather than follow him directly. Could there be a lesson in this that might explain today's hierarchical church models? Is there something inherent in us that wants to place men on platforms to mediate between us and our God? If so, then we are actually diminishing Christ's sacrifice, which not only allows us direct access to God, but according to the book of Hebrews, allows us to approach him boldly. Perhaps this is why Christ had such a completely different perspective than Jethro. When discussing the exact same problem Moses had, Jesus suggested a radically different solution than implementing a hierarchy. But we can talk about that in the next video. If you like this video, please...
Well, yeah, that is one of the main and major problems in the churches and in African churches too, because of the lack of personal relationship between individuals and God, but rather the dependence on the church, dependence on the pastors, on GOs. That is the hierarchy that has made people to be idol worshippers. People are more attached to individuals, pastors, churches, instead of being attached to God, and that is idol worshiping, when you are attached to any other thing other than God. Well, that will be it for today. Please go share the message and share. And if you want to be receiving our messages on WhatsApp, please send your telephone to us to this number, +38 098 596 3838. And if you want to visit us in Ukraine, if you want to attend the HMT History Makers training, please go to write to hmt@godembassy.org, hmt@godembassy.org. And for those of you who want to join the mentorship program, just go to sundaydelajablog.com/mentorship, and it's free. You can join that way. So thank you so much for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace. If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much.